Hello all newcomers and welcome back my fellow Aeternians. As always, it's me, Emperor AP, and today is going to look a little bit different. I left tripods, so that being the case, we're going to make do. I haven't been here in a while. It's been over a month since I have been able to come out to Vitae and actually work and make progress. Maybe a little under a month actually, but it has been a long time. First off, Libertarian Republic of Noblestan, great to see you, Noblestan. Thank you for being here in the stream. It is an early morning stream this morning, and there is good reason for that. There is a lot of updates to give you guys. One of the biggest reasons that I have been gone is because we have been moving, which is fantastic news. It's going to be a lot better situation for ourselves financially, and also it is going to be closer to Vitae. So that means cutting our drive in about half. We were having to drive 2 hours one way to get to Vitae and then 2 hours back to get home. Now it is just a little over an hour. So that is almost cut in half time for our travel. That is cut in half expenses to come to Vitae. That is going to help us progress a lot, and that comes with, again, a lot more updates. First off, it's been a minute since we've been able to work on the dwelling. As you guys may have seen last time, we were working on the door frame. So that is something that we will continue next time. Again, this time I have not brought my tripod, so we're not going to do too much. I have done stuff here as I've been here for the last couple hours, and so what I'm going to do today is just run you guys through what we've been up to, and hopefully this will be nice for you guys, because any questions or comments that you have, I will be able to engage with you 100% on. But that being the case, Military Government of Fishland says hello. Hope it goes well. Thank you so much, Fishland. I appreciate it, and I hope Fishland is developing swimmingly as well. Right now, one of the biggest things that I want to update you guys on is I was able to cut a bunch of tree branches. One of the biggest issues that we had with meeting our goals for 12,024 this year was trying to grow our garden. Now, our garden, we planted out here at Vitae, and I will show you it in just a moment, but it did not have nearly enough sunlight. There is, as you can tell, a large canopy above us, tree cover, just blocking out almost all sunlight. And so for anything to grow here, it is an absolute struggle. And it would be a complete surprise to have even just a little bit of growth, right? And so that being the case, to kind of aid with some of that and to reduce some of the canopy that's over our plants directly, I have gone ahead and cut a bunch of tree limbs. We actually just got a new pole saw. It's about a 16-foot pole saw, so we can cut. Next time, I'm going to show you guys some of the branches that we've cut. It's probably going to be hard to see, but there are a few up there that we've cut, again, about to 16 feet, something like that. Now, the issue is we still have, right above us, a good bit of canopy. The good news is it's a lot higher than it was, and we're able to let in, let me see if I can point you guys directly at the sun, a lot more sunlight. And so, the ground already, as you can see, is starting to open up. There's a little bit more sunlight. And as you can see, most of our plants have gone ahead and died. Again, we just haven't been able to properly take care of them. Again, with that lack of sunlight, they just really haven't been able to do a ton. Although, with us not taking care of them, again, in over a month, and then honestly a little bit longer, just because we've been working on the dwelling and because we have not really been able to give them the proper sunlight, they weren't doing great. But as you can see, these tomato plants that were, very tall and very strong, still not doing bad. We even have some of our other plants that are cropping up here that are still doing all right. And so that is an absolute surprise to us. Again, taking no care as of the last month or so, probably the last 2 months in total of, not regularly watering, doing things like that, just letting the garden die, letting it, go back to the soil and try again. We have had a shock, and in particular a shock today, because when I came out, I figured, the last few months I've been telling you guys as we keep going, hey, the garden isn't doing as hot as we thought it would. It's not producing like we really hoped. And honestly, again, that tree coverage is causing us so many issues that we're not getting a harvest this year. And so, we kept talking about that and kept having all these issues. And yet, I may have been wrong. Because, we have a little pepper. It is the most adorable, sweetest little pepper you could ever imagine. And honestly, why would it have grown? You know, we have been struggling. We have been, you know, this is the worst garden you could possibly imagine. Just throwing stuff out there, hoping it survives under complete shade, with all of these invasive plants coming in. And I say invasive, they're native plants, but all of these plants coming in and taking over its territory and, you know, strangling its roots. How could something survive? This little guy did. And this little guy did as well. So it is not much at all. It is a laughably small, yield for our garden, a laughably small harvest that we are going to be getting. However, it's not nothing. Somehow in 12,024, we have actually grown some plants. These aren't, you know, wild, onion like we grew last time that we hoped would kind of crop up and do some good, which we do have some more wild onion as well. You know, our tomatoes didn't do as well as we would have hoped. We really would have hoped to have had some of those tomatoes, and yet we will have some peppers that we have. Very small amount, but Tiffany does love some peppers, and I enjoyed them myself as well. So we will have a yield from our garden somehow, through no support from us, through, you know, us being the worst stewards of our garden. Somehow we still have a yield, which is incredible. Again, this won't be much to go toward the development of Vitae and Aeternia, but it teaches us something. It teaches us what we need to improve, and also it teaches us that we are still able to make micro gains for our micronation. This is still some progress. This is still moving forward, even if not at the pace we would like to. And so we are proud of it. I'm excited. I didn't think we would have any of this. I didn't expect anything. And so we have gone above and beyond expectation for ourselves, at least as of the last few months. So first off, Andrew Carl Carter says, "Good morning, Your Imperial Majesty Emperor AP. How are you today?" Doing well. It's good to see you, President Carter. Thank you for being here. Government Official says, "Don't buy more seeds. Take them from the pepper fruit when it's finished growing, if it survives. Same goes for the other fruits and seed pods." I'm going to see if I'm on the map of micronations on the Imperial market yet. Thank you so much, Fishland. Check. But you probably aren't. Again, not your fault at all. I promise you have not passed you up. It is completely our issue. I have been busy with school, and being unable to come to Vitae because of that has meant that, and because of our move, has meant that I have not been able to dedicate enough time to the Imperial market. However, I will be updating it relatively soon, so keep a lookout for that. In addition, I do have some small updates for our dwelling. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that real fast. Again, thank you guys for being here, taking the extra special time out to help us develop and to support us here in what we're doing. Here's our dwelling. Again, we haven't been here in a month. So as you can see, the back of our little canopy here has fallen. The back of our little, you know, tarp has fallen down, and so I will have to try to fix that at some point. But that is one issue that we will need to repair. One benefit, I went ahead and continued on the framing. If you remember last time, we had, of course, this wall is framed. The back wall is completely framed, although you can't see it too great. Back wall is completely framed. That wall is completely framed. And this wall is completely framed. The only thing that we need is this wall right here, which we'll have to completely frame. So that is one that needs to be entirely framed. And then this wall right here is just about done now. Before, we didn't have, we had these three boards, two right here, one, two. And then we also had this one up here. But now I've added this board and that janky board right there, which I'm just realizing how crooked it is. But those things are stable. If I don't fall, they are stable. They are good. And I normally do the climb test on those, but because I don't have my tripod today, that's going to look weird and terrible. But we do have that going on, so we have made some more progress on the frame as well. Don't think I've been slacking on you guys, but we have opened up that canopy. As it gets a little more throughout the day, we're going to be able to see, hopefully, more of the sunshine creeping in on our plants, which will mean hopefully those peppers will keep growing and doing great. We are going to be slowly continuing with this. One of the bigger things that I wanted to try to accomplish today is to dig out more of the foundation for our dwelling. Again, if you guys don't know too much about the dwelling, the process and the idea is effectively that we have built this frame. We've set everything up, again, main posts in the ground with concrete, and then that all being supported by this wooden frame. We eventually are going to be purchasing some trusses that will go up to build the roof, and we are working on getting access to a trailer to be able to purchase those trusses and bring them over here. But the other thing that we have been working on is trying to dig out the foundation. So if you guys see this big pit in the ground right here, this is kind of the initial breaking ground, if you will, of our dwelling. This is what we started with when we did the version 1 of our dwelling, which was going to be just about the same size as the diameter of this hole right here. And we hadn't actually expanded the hole out quite that big when we initially started, but we were just piling up sticks. We were just trying to make the walls by piling up branches and things that had fallen down, trying to get heavy logs and make effectively a log cabin that we were like nailing together. And it just wasn't effective. Tiffany had a better, improved idea. And so we have developed, again, this much better, much more desirable shelter. And so our biggest goals are to continue digging out this foundation, which once we get down to basically that height right there, if you can see kind of where the ground dips down to its lowest point, that depth is going to be what we're trying to keep maybe a little bit lower and do that throughout the entire shelter so that it becomes effectively level with the door. You can't see it here, but this actually slopes downward. And so we're going to try and keep it about level with the door right over there, if I can point to it properly, right over there. And so in doing that, we will actually have a slight step down. So when you walk into the dwelling, you're going to, come to the door, open the doors up, and then step down slightly into the dwelling. Then what we're going to do once we have that entire space dug out is we are going to line it with concrete and fill the entire thing with concrete. So we won't fill it back up to floor height. It will still be a semi-submerged building, but we are going to have to waterproof it really well. We're going to have to protect it really well. And again, we are going to go back over this entire ground level area and below with concrete. So that's going to be something that is nice because we have these areas that are touching the ground here with wood. And if you know anything about building, which a lot of our commoners have brought up, that that's going to rot. That will rot away, and that is an issue for us. Now, these main beams that we have are weather treated. They are, designed to go into the ground and stay for years and years and years. But not all of these panels are. And so that being the case, we want to dig this out, get below all of that panel depth. Right here, it's not too bad because a lot of this is kind of off the ground. But if we left it like this, then anything that wanted would be able to get in. It wouldn't be too effective a shelter. It also wouldn't be very insulated for the cold. So again, we're going to be continuing to dig down to about that depth. As you can see, this hole goes significantly lower than that level right there. So we're going to be continuing to dig that out and then backfilling it effectively. I say backfilling it, that makes it sound like it fills all the way up. Lining it with concrete and waterproofing it. And so, that being the case, as we continue to do that, those are going to be our biggest 3 objectives. The first one is going to be finishing, our biggest 4 objectives, I should say, because we're still not quite done with the frame. Finish the frame, which is almost done. Putting up the rest of this little part right here, doing this entire piece. That's completely done. Finishing this guy up, and then maybe putting 1 or 2 extra boards on this one back here. I think that corner needs maybe one or two extra, and that'll be it. We will be completely finished with the frame, so that's 1 out of 4. Our second out of 4 is going to be finishing this door frame and actually putting doors on it. Again, one of the biggest goals we have out here is to be able to bring equipment and lock it up. And we can't do that if we don't have a space to actually be enclosed and to lock. So being able to finish that door and having some nice wide swinging doors will help us, one, to be able to move equipment in and out of here, to make it more of a shelter, and also to be able to leave equipment here and feel safe that it's not going anywhere, especially as we buy more expensive equipment. We start putting things out here to run electricity, to have solar panels, stuff like that. We want to be able to monitor things. Even just, having batteries out here and being able to run like trail cams and being able to have some kind of, consistent power source just for like, a fan or something, or to provide, a little electric pump for our garden and watering. All of that's going to be super, super useful, but we need to be able to have a place to lock things up. So building those doors and getting them secure will be nice. They're going to be custom doors. They're going to be doors that we make. So hopefully our craftsmanship is good enough to make them high quality. If it turns out that they're not, we'll probably go ahead and buy some. But for now, we want to see what we can do with our own Aeternian ingenuity. So after that, that'll be big goal number 2 for finishing up this dwelling. Big goal number 3 is going to be getting those trusses up and finishing the roof, actually starting the roof and eventually finishing it. And then the final step to completing this dwelling, to the point where it will be able to be effectively our little outpost. Nothing where somebody's going to stay here or try and live here, but more a structure that can store our materials and a place where we can camp out, come out for a night or two, maybe over a weekend, and have a place that's out of the rain that, we can, reasonably have accommodations, sleeping bags, a little cot or something, and be able to eat our food and cook and do things like that, and feel like we're still basically camping, but out here at Vitae and having a little setup, a little place that if somebody wants to stay or come and visit us, they have a great place to do so. That being the case, we're still so far, but we're getting closer. Each time we make progress on this, we're moving a lot closer. Again, this used to not be enclosed at all. Where I'm standing, where I'm kneeling effectively, used to be just this open piece. It wasn't completely open. If you notice right there is the part of a tree that was growing right here. We actually built this around a tree and had to cut the tree down partially through the building process, partially through the framing process. And so, that being the case, this place has not existed for very long. Over the past year and a half, basically, has been us building what this is, what it currently stands as today. And so, what we're trying to do now is to say, hey, in the next year and a half, let's try to get this thing done. Let's, that's not a hard set deadline, but in the next few months, if we can get this door finished and actually have a place where we can lock up tools, we can keep a lot of things out here, which means every time we take a trip back and forth, we don't have to bring all new, we don't have to bring the same amount of materials, which means we're not limited to the amount of materials we can bring. We could bring a chainsaw and leave it out here. We could bring, multiple axes, multiple saws, multiple hammers, and have people who are able to come out with us and have the space to be able to bring them with us, instead of having to say, oh, maybe one other person can come with me because the space in my car is filled up. That all being the case, we could bring a wheelbarrow out here to be able to move things like all this massive amounts of dirt that we're going to need to move. And so there is a lot of development that needs to be done, but each of these goals, these 4 goals, finishing the frame, finishing the door, finishing the roof, and then finishing the foundation and actually finishing the ground here, will be monumental steps toward big things at Vitae. And again, those things themselves, those steps to completing this really do represent an overall completion of what we're trying to do at Vitae. I imagine by that time, once we'd have this dwelling finished to the point that we want it right now, that'll also mean we have a flourishing garden. That'll also mean we have you know, some form of electricity out here. It'll also mean we have a lot of other things that just come almost, you know, naturally from that progression and that development. So thank you guys again for being here, for liking the video, for supporting us. I'm going to still be sticking around for a little bit. I've got, you know, maybe another half hour to hang out with you guys. But it's great to see you. First off, Serbska, excuse me, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the video and supporting us. I forgot my tripod today, so I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, oh, it's very shaky. The video's, you know, different than it has been, but that's what's going on. I also am not in my imperial garb today. I'm not in my official formal uniform with my ascot and everything, just because I didn't know how much I'd be able to film, and I really wanted to get some progress done. I might, if I can swing it, I might be back out this Sunday. So if you guys are looking for some more content, if you guys are looking to see us continue to develop and develop in a real serious, you know, push, Sunday may be the day. We need some more nails is one of the biggest things. So one of the things, if you guys want to support us on Patreon, you certainly can. We have a great number of patrons right now. I say a great number. We have a great community of patrons right now. We have just a few, but their little, you know, every month here and there support means that eventually over time we're able to buy things like nails, or every, you know, month or two we can, you know, they'll help us with a tank of gas or something, or a fraction of a tank of gas. It means a lot. It makes all the difference for how much we're able to come out here, and, you know, how easy it is for us to make progress. So thank you guys for being patrons, for supporting us. Thank you guys just for watching this, for connecting us with the right people, and for teaching us how to do things like this. Again, a lot of what we've been doing here has been inspired by you guys, or some of it directly brought on by you guys and what you've taught us. That being the case, I'm going to go forward and read some comments. Fishland, I think, brought this up earlier, said don't buy more seeds, take them from the pepper fruit when it's finished growing, if it survives. That is absolutely a plan that we have. Again, you know, the more that we can harvest here, the more that we can grow, the more that we're able to replenish what we're doing. So you're right, for those peppers, we will now have the advantage of harvesting those seeds. Means that even though we only have 2 little small peppers, it's a fraction of a snack for us. We still have new seeds. We still have the ability to grow the next generation of Vitaean peppers. Fishland says, I'm going to see if I'm on the map. Fishland says, not yet, being patient. Again, thank you for being patient. I appreciate that. I know it's a headache. You know, if you've been waiting on the map for months or something, it really can be annoying to say, hey, I want my thing on here. I am grateful for that. You know, it's me personally going through and updating the map. It doesn't take super long for one individual, but when there are, you know, a number of people, maybe every week or every couple of weeks, who jump on and apply, or people who change their applications. So, you know, sometimes I'll put somebody on and then they'll say, hey, I no longer claim that area, I claim a new area, or hey, we've changed the name and our flag, or hey, we want to update our contact information, or something like that. Then that's a new group that is in line that, you know, I have to find their thing again and edit it and do all that. That's a lot of complaining on my part, but I'm grateful for it. I just want to say it takes time, so thank you for being patient. Serbska says, hello. Again, hello, great to see you. Serbska says, AP, I've sent you a request on Discord to be your editor. Perfect, thank you. We really do need that. It was incredibly unfortunate. One of our good citizens, in fact, our most recent citizen, Dakota, had to step away from our community, had to step away from being an aeternian. Dakota was an amazing citizen, and I don't think that was because Dakota had any issue with us, or, you know, that there was anything that we could have done better to provide for him. To my understanding from the message that he left on Discord, it seems as though it was because his family had a conflict with Aeternia, and didn't want him to pursue that. So you need to respect your family. You need to respect the people whose roof you're living under. So I definitely understand that, and I hope he's able to find something, you know, similar that makes him happy. If he's able to come back to Aeternia one day, I would be honored. And I think we'd be lucky to have him. He was a great citizen. He was somebody who was like super dedicated too. Initially jumping into being an Aeternian, a lot of the big thing that we have to do as the government of Aeternia is go through and filter candidates. And so when somebody applies, we have to talk to them and say, hey, what is it that you're looking for out of Aeternia, and are you able to contribute in some way? We don't ever, go to people and say, you have to complete this and this by this time, and if you don't do that, then you're out of here. And it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not something that we're, giving people mega workloads or anything like that. But we do expect some contribution. And so when we ask people what their contribution will be, Dakota, as a very rare example of something that we see in Aeternia, was immediately on it, saying, hey, I'm not too sure what I can do specifically, which is a lot of people's answer. But here are some things that I've done in the past. Here are some things that I want to do, and I'm happy to do like anything, which is super cool. He ended up initially becoming a Discord moderator for us and immediately excelled at that, going above and beyond expectation. When we have a Discord moderator, basically what we're looking for them to do is to come in, and it has to be a citizen for security reasons, but that citizen will come in and they're effectively just monitoring the chat. They're, hanging out with people, talking, trying to make it a friendly and welcoming place. And then also, if somebody does get aggressive or weird, or a conflict starts, or somebody posts something in the wrong part of the server or whatever, just managing things, deleting malicious posts or comments or whatever, or, trying to make sure that people, again, stay to the right parts of the server for different things, for like memes or whatever, or for their own self-promotion. And so he was great at that, and he did that immediately. And then on top of that, he just starts posting these like daily updates and like announcements for Vitae and for Aeternia on our Discord server, which is now going to be like a cultural touchstone that's missed. This is like that's a mark that Dakota left on the Empire of Aeternia in his short time here that we can't replace. It was somebody who, I would love to spend time doing that, to be able to post daily like that, and to be able to update you guys daily. And for his love of this community, and the short time that he was here, he put so much heart into that every single day posting. And if you guys have not seen those, if you're on our Discord, go ahead and read them again. Go ahead and go back through the history of those posts in our announcements channel, because he was awesome. He filled the community in his short time here with so much richness, with so much value. And with so much presence, of him being there, super grateful for that. On top of that, he also started taking on the role of being our editor. We hadn't, unfortunately, been able to put out a project together, but he was helping us to work on our micronational music video with slowjamastan, which has been like a year in the making. Still working on it. I'm having to animate frame by frame the entire thing, so it's going to take a minute. But that was something that he was helping to speed up the process on as well. Dakota was somebody who is very rare in micronationalism and very rare in life, I think, where you find somebody who comes in and just changes the feel of a place, makes it that much more wholesome, makes it that much more special, makes it that much more amazing, and made me that much more proud to be an Aeternian. I love Aeternia. I've always loved our community and been grateful for all of the support that we get. But when you see somebody special who comes in and really makes it their own, it makes it that much more special. It makes it that much more valuable. And so I would be lucky to have Dakota back whenever he is able to do so. But until then, I just wish him the best. Like, as a friend, I am eager to see what Dakota does in his life. He has a YouTube channel, which if you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. I don't have the name. It's like Madman Dakota, I think, which was his name on Discord. If you guys can't find it, let me know. I may, post a link to that in the Discord as well, because he's just a cool guy. He does like VR stuff on YouTube, which is very cool. So I'm going to try and follow his progress one way or the other. But we do need an editor, Serbska. So thank you. That will be one of the biggest ways that we will need to move forward. Unfortunately, without Dakota, for the time being. But we do need that. That is a hole that he has left. It's just nearly impossible to fill. Again, we have needed an editor for a long time. We at one point hired an editor that was very short-lived. The financial logistics of that was way too much. It was too difficult, and honestly, you know, was probably just a bad investment on our part. The videos that came out of that were really cool and really well edited, and some of our best videos to date. But unfortunately, it's just an expense we couldn't bear, and probably would have been better to invest elsewhere. You know, just developing Vitae, you know, moving forward some of our goals. But that being the case, we did that. Proud that we did it, and it has helped to elevate the channel. So that being the case, we're looking to replicate that. We're looking to try to, you know, support people who are talented and to provide some value to them. So if you want to be an editor, you know, you're looking for example, an alliance, Empire of Serbia, you know, if you're wanting us to bring our nations closer together, being an editor for us can help a ton, just because it helps us to get our name out there, which then helps us to promote you more. And so there's kind of a symbiosis there. So, you know, if you're able to do that, you know, if you're good at editing, if you feel like you could help us out with creating some short form content, especially if you watch these streams like you do, that's one of the biggest things we need, is somebody to come in and just simple as, hey, I saw something cool on the stream, or I remember there was this cool thing back on a previous stream like a month ago that I thought was like funny and interesting, and I wanted to clip that. And so if we can get multiple clips from these streams, from different videos, and clip them together and string them together and put them into some kind of little compilation, make a video of that, you know, people eat that stuff up on short form content. So we definitely want stuff like that to be able to throw on YouTube Shorts, to be able to throw on Instagram Reels, to be able to throw on TikTok, and to just get our name out there and show people, hey, this is what the community is about. So we definitely need an editor, and I will be reaching out to you on that for sure. Fishland says, we have renamed our language from Fishlandic to Ossia. Oh, that's cool. I actually like Ossia. That's pretty dope. Fishland says, hope that's well too. Appreciate it. President Carter said, I've done the alliance proposal form with your nation right now, your Imperial Majesty, Emperor AP, and I need to become new allies with your nation right now. I appreciate it. I will check the application, and I will reach out to you to let you know what our decision is. It's weird because applying for an alliance with Aeternia is both a very difficult thing for micronations and also something that isn't too difficult practically. It just, I think it hits on a dilemma that micronations have in general, which is almost like a filter for us. All that our alliance asks, which is similar to our citizenship application, is that we want some contribution, some mutual benefit. And so for our citizens, that's what can you contribute to Aeternia to help us grow and develop? What are your personal talents and skills? For our alliance application, that's, hey, what is it that you do? What is it that your nation creates that we can, you know, that can be provided to us to give us benefits? Something we're looking for. Again, maybe something like editing or digital content. Maybe something like, you know, shout outs or whatever. You know, there's something that you can do online, or, you know, if you were to physically send us stuff, we would take it, but it's difficult for us to physically send stuff because of the expense. So, you know, a lot of our alliance, a lot of our, you know, most valuable or most best prospects for alliances usually come from mutual support. Our only ally right now, the Draconian Empire, is one that is a consistent supporter of us online. And that is the whole purpose. You know, the basis of our alliance is the fact that they are able to create content with us. They are able to help promote the empire. They are able to help our development and push us forward and talk to people about us in person and say, hey, do you know about the Empire of Aeternia, this micronation that's doing this and this and that? And that helps us to grow. That gives us more name recognition. And so that's what we look for in alliances. President Carter, if you think that's something that you can do, if you think your nation fits the bill, so to speak, I would be excited to have you all as allies. But we will have to talk about that in the future. President Carter said, good morning, everyone. How are you today? Fishland said, Fishland is recent, so culture's just started development. I'm sitting here making laws officially while I watch this. That's incredible, though. That's one of the beautiful things about making a micronation, is the fact that, you know, at any time if something's not working, it's not so big that you can't change it. And again, the type of government that you have, we've made videos on that whole process before, but the type of government can affect that a little bit. For the most part, you know, you're a small group of people, you're able to change relatively quickly, and that makes a big impact. You can improve, you can design new things, you can come up with stuff, and see what sticks, and be proud of all those little moments where you said, that little thing that I wrote, in my bedroom, or, while on a trip or something, while in the car. There was just a quick little like passing thought that, while I was watching a live stream or something, there was just a passing thought. I started sharing that with people. I started talking about it. That's the reason we got 10 citizens. That's the reason, that we've been having this great festival every year. That's the reason that we started making the money that our economy generates, or whatever. Those little ideas, those little sparks down the road become big things. And so, even though it's kind of silly to say, oh, well, I'm writing official laws while doing this. Isn't that crazy? Down the road, you will look back at those laws. You will look back at the things that you're writing today and go, man, this was the start. This was where it all began. This is like the treasure trove of Fishlandic history. This is, what our nation really was from the roots, which is amazing. So I wish you luck with it, and I hope you get a lot out of it today. Hope it's productive. Fishland says, do you accept my alliance? And then President Carter said, yes, sir. Hey, that's great. Hopefully we have a new alliance going on between Fishland and Ameristralia, I think is the name, of Australia. Fishland says, to anyone really? Very cool. Fishland, if you have applied for an alliance with us, I know you've applied for the map, so I'm going to be checking that out soon. As far as an alliance, again, same deal. First off, President Carter, great to see you. Her Majesty Queen Bougie. Queen Bougie, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Queen Bougie says, hello, Emperor AP. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. I hope you are doing well. I know we haven't talked in some time, but I'm excited to see the introduction for your channel. Excuse me, I'm going to cough, and it's going to be gross. Yeah. I am excited to see the progress, Queen Bougie. I know developing a micronation, developing anything while you're developing your own life is incredibly tough. But when we talked, I really felt your passion. I really, saw that you were excited to do something, and I'm eager to see it. If there's anything we can ever do to help, if there's anything I can do, talking, being supportive, shouting you guys out, whatever it is, let me know. We need more dedicated, inspiring micronations out there, and you seem like a great person to do that. Fishland says, please can I have some building tips? I have to start building my capital, Portburg, soon. Ooh, that's a great question. I would say use your resources effectively. And what that, efficiently, I should say. What that means is, for example, this structure that we have here, most of it didn't cost us a dime. Now, transporting it here cost us a little bit of money, but that's going to be whether we have nothing in our car and we're just showing up here, or whether we're bringing a truckload of equipment. That's going to cost us about the same in gas. So while nothing that you do to develop and build is going to be free, there are things you can do to really reduce the amount of cost you have. And the cost generally is going to be the thing that takes, that determines the length of your project. If you have all the money in the world to put toward your project, you'll get it done tomorrow. You'll build a huge palace and you'll pass up Vitae, like we're nothing. But if you are somebody like us, or similar, who has a budget, who has a specific limited amount of resources, and who will have to find every way they can to gather the resources that they need as cheaply as possible, you will need to make use of what you've got, what you have available. One of the things that may be is pallet wood. We use pallet wood for a lot of the paneling that you can see here on these walls that have started to enclose our dwelling. That paneling is super valuable to us. Again, just making this more of an enclosed structure. That pallet wood a lot of the time is free or very, very cheap. There are people who will collect pallet wood from different places and sell it. So if you're looking for a large amount, you may be able to buy some relatively cheap. But honestly, if you're just willing to wait and look around enough, there are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of places who get shipments of goods on wooden pallets and then throw the pallets away. So you may find them out by a business's dumpster, or, they may post on things like Facebook Marketplace saying, hey, there's a bunch of free pallets over here if anybody wants them for projects. and that's how we get ours. You know, we'll go to a place, we will disassemble the pallets, we will throw the wood into our car, and then we will drive it over to Vitae, and you know, try and slowly build up our pile. And as of right now, this is what it's gotten us. You know, it's probably 15, 20 trips of just going, you know, in a relatively small car and just piling the car up to our necks with pallet wood. I don't recommend you do that because it is a little bit dangerous. If you know somebody with a truck or with a trailer, that's ideal so that you can really be safe and protect yourself and not drive with pallet wood in the car like we did, which is a little dangerous. But we are slowly improving. We are getting to the point where we're going to have access to a trailer soon. And so, that being the case, we may not be in that same situation for long. But that's a great example of that as well. You know, if you can recover nails and things like that from the pallet wood, that's ideal. Although a lot of the nails that you're going to get are going to be bent and twisted and rusted and just flimsy. So a lot of the time you'll have to buy your own nails for building. When you put in a structure like this, one of the big and important things that you're going to want to do is get some strong, sturdy, weatherproof posts like we have here. I'll show you another one that's a little closer right here. So this guy is actually in the ground, as you can see. If I can move back a little bit, you can tell it is down in the ground, and it is in fact cemented into the ground. It has concrete poured around it, and so you can buy like little bags of Quikrete and stuff like that if you're in a pinch, which is what we ended up doing. But you need a nice weather treated set of posts to be the basis for anything that you're going to build that you want to last more than a few months. Excuse me, like I said, our first attempt at building this dwelling was literally like a log cabin, piling up sticks and debris and nailing them together and hoping that would last. Very quickly, we realized it wasn't going to be what we wanted, and so we had to make other plans. And this is something that will last us a good few years. You know, we're talking maybe 5, 10 years that we can use this basically like it is and not have to worry about making too many modifications or upgrades. But the other benefit is that these posts will last maybe 20, 30, 50 years because they're weather treated, because they are cemented into the ground. They will last a good long time. And so even if we have to do some remodeling, even if, you know, our panels start rotting or falling apart, or even if, you know, some of our framing, worst comes to worst, or some of our roof has issues in the future, we will always be able to take those pieces off, repair them or replace them, and then the main structure, the main framing, the main posts, at worst comes to worst, will still be good and will still be perfectly usable. And so that still gives us something to continue to build on. If you're really looking to make something long lasting, if you're really looking to make something permanent, that's going to be the way to go. But again, that costs money. Same thing with your roof. The two things you really don't want to cheap out on are the posts that are going to be the way that your building is anchored to the ground, especially if you are dealing with a place that has tornadoes or hurricanes or anything like that. Here in North Alabama, our big worry is tornadoes. So tornadoes are going to be a big problem, and if you don't have your building anchored into the ground, it's going to fly away. During one of those big storms, it can easily rip out a house that is, you know, much larger and much more sturdy than this little shed. And so if you want any chance of surviving that and any chance of your building being left standing, you really need to concrete deep down into the ground. First off, multiple things. Fishland says, yep, building tips, and then says, hi, Mecklenburg. Queen Bougie says, hello, hello. Hey, great. I'm glad Mecklenburg is getting that name recognition out there. Fishland says, recently found out that my friend has 5RF Falcons. What is that? Wizard B says, hello. Hey, Wizard B, good to see you. Thanks for being here. You look very wizardly from your profile picture. I can certainly appreciate it. Very mystical. Fishland says, since Fishland has no real email, we share through Google Docs and email in the Alliance form. Interesting. But I have one to share with you. I will do it after the stream to save your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Fishland. Aaron says, good morning, Emperor. Good morning, Aaron. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having an enjoyable day. We are going to have to go in not too long, in about 8 minutes, but it is fantastic to see you checking us out. If you haven't seen the beginning of the stream, Aaron, I wanted to point out that we have peppers now. We have 2 very baby peppers that are growing, and I'll go ahead and show them one more time, just because I'm so dang proud of them. That seemingly, you know, while the rest of our garden has all but died and is, you know, falling apart, we do somehow miraculously have these 2 cute little peppers that have grown, 1 and 2. And I don't know how we managed, but we will apparently have some kind of harvest here now, which is incredible. Another thing, now that it's starting to become later in the day, you can see we have more sunlight showing up onto our plot, which is great because that was the biggest issue that we had, that we were running into with growing this garden. And the reason that most of it died, the reason that, for example, a lot of our tomatoes are looking very sorry right now, is because we weren't able to have enough open sunlight coming through this dense canopy. So one of the things that I did, I got a 16-foot pole saw that was our latest investment. Thank you to our patrons, by the way. And I was able to cut down a bunch, and I'm talking a bunch of branches here. And these aren't nearly all of them, because as you can see, there's still a big canopy up above us. But, you know, going from having branches that are about 8-9 feet above us and continuing on high, to now just having branches that are, you know, maybe at the 25-30 foot mark, reaching to the top of the trees, gives us a lot more space for sunlight to creep through. And so again, still not perfect, still a lot of shade for us to grow a garden. But as we move toward the winter time and are able to cut down more of these trees and are able to trim more of these trees, we should get to the point where we have quite a bit of sunshine peeking through. And it also gives me a chance to actually look and see which parts are getting affected by what trees, and seeing what I can cut down that will actually help to make progress directly on our plants here, so that we're not just cutting down trees willy-nilly, that we're not destroying the natural, beautiful habitat of Vitae without good reason. And so, that being the case, and trying to make as little impact as possible. That being the case, this is a good start. Again, you know, being able to clear the main set of branches that were just right in the way of this plot helps a good bit. And so we now have a little bit of sunshine sneaking through. But good day, Aaron. That's what we've been up to so far. That and continuing the framing on the dwelling. We're almost done. We have just 1 partial wall to finish for the framing. And then, you know, maybe 2 more pieces of horizontal slats to finish as like supports and bracing for the rest of the frame. After that, we'll be done with the frame. And we will have 3 big goals left to achieve. Finishing the doors, starting and finishing the doors for the dwelling. Then putting on trusses for the roof, which will probably take some time, but we're getting closer and closer to that. And then finally, the longest time, but will be the final piece de resistance on our version 1 of the dwelling, will be actually digging out the rest of the foundation, pouring concrete, and water sealing it, so that we have a slightly submerged below ground dwelling that is protected from any kind of rot of the wood by, you know, it touching the ground, you know, getting supported on both sides by concrete, and then of course that concrete being water treated and waterproof, so that we have effectively like a little basement that is, you know, treated and is able to protect us from any kind of flooding or any kind of excessive water that we would get soaking into the ground around us. That being the case, that will be getting much closer on our dwelling. Even just completing the doors will mean that we can lock things up here and keep stuff safe. So we're almost there to big things. But it has been about a month since I've been able to be out here last. So a lot of issues with our development, a lot of slowing of our development. But now that we have just a little bit more progress, one big piece of which is that we have moved a good bit closer to Vitae. That's going to mean improvements in our finances. It's also going to make trips to Vitae not only cheaper, but a little bit faster. It was about 2 hours to get to Vitae one way, and then 2 hours back on a trip. Now it's about a little over an hour. So that is significant improvement in the cost it takes to come to Vitae, and also to just our our ability to come out here, the frequency with which we can come out. And so, one thing that has fallen that I need to put back, we have our beautiful, let's see if I can get it straight. There we go. Arrow of progress here that has been remounted. I knocked it down earlier when I was cutting all these branches, but we have our beautiful arrow of progress guiding us forward, helping us to make our dreams come true. We have our peppers that by some miracle, even though we had all but abandoned our garden, have started to grow. So it seems we will have some harvest, as well as like last year, adding to some of the wild mushrooms, goodness, wild onion, as you can see some growing right here, that we had from last year. It seems we will be in a position to have a good little harvest. Again, not anything spectacular, not anything that would be befitting of an imperial garden, but certainly something that gets us started and has some real tangible benefits, like Fishland brought up. That will be able to, the peppers that we collect here will be able to give us seeds that we can replant. So we don't have to buy new peppers, pepper seeds, to try and grow new peppers. That all being the case, again, looking at it, today is a little bit of an overcast day, so we're not able to see the sun peeking through too much, but it is still peeking through. And honestly, this is more sunlight than these plants had gotten on a sunny day, with just the amount of tree coverage, with the amount of canopy that was up above them normally. So now that the sun is starting to peek through a little bit more, now that we have a little bit of clearance in our canopy, I think these plants are going to do better and better. We also, as always, have our little water supply here, about half full. I haven't been adding to it the last few times we've come out because I haven't had time to work on the pump system. Eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pump, which I've already started working on, but again, have to do some major upgrades and improvements to it. But effectively going to have a pump that sits here and, that's my cue, that pumps water out from this thing, out from this tub, using electricity, using an electric water pump. Will pump water out of this tank, suck it and deposit it into the rows of our garden. And that'll be really nice because it'll be something that we can use that actually measures the soil moisture, as well as the temperature outside, and can tell us, kind of ideal times for watering, and can also give us progress on how the plants are doing over time. So this will be a system that really gives us a lot of benefit in the future, and is something that we should move toward pretty quickly. Again, not nearly first priority. First priority, of course, is that guy right there, our beautiful dwelling. But our garden has shown us some progress, and we need to honor it by giving back to it and really, feeding that investment that, like I said, we had all but given up on for this year. We were going to let it die. We were going to try and clear some more of the canopy, and then hopefully see where that got us in the next year. But trying again next spring. But honestly, we have made some progress. We've had some improvements. So there are things to look forward to. We have a lot more to do here. And again, I'm hoping to try to come out next Sunday, but I'm not sure how well that's going to go. So I will have to keep you all updated. First off, let me get through the last of our comments and I will head out. Fishland says, also I went to London for a trade and went past a micronation called the Drylands. Hey, very cool. Congratulations. It's cool that you guys are connecting with other micronations. I know there are a ton of micronations in Europe, so that is something that's exciting to see. Fishland says, took ages to get there though. I will make a video about different micronations. Can I use yours? You can of course use the Empire of Aeternia. However, I would ask that you please link us in the description if you can, and at us, like at Aeternian Empire, I think, or maybe at the EOA on YouTube. But if you can at us as well, it'll help to link people from your channel to our channel and give us some extra support. So if you do that, that would mean a lot. Queen Bougie says, I appreciate that IP. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Of course, anytime. I'm excited to see it. Andrew, President Carter, King Carter, changed their form of government. Says, I am the king, Andrew, of the United Kingdom of New England and the New Scotland and the New Ireland right now, Your Imperial Majesty. Gotcha. Thank you for the update. I did not know that you had gone from a presidency to a kingdom. Military government official says we have a GDP of about 7,200 yetas, Fishland currency, a year. Very cool. But I thought you guys had called them OSHA now. Fishland says, so should be enough. I know someone with a van, not a truck. Still, van helps a lot. Fishland says, thank you for the tips, of course. King Carter says, good morning, Queen Bougie. Fishland says, Fishland's weather is bad this season. 7 degrees Celsius average and scattered storms. Okay, so you guys are already getting deep into the what would be winter here. I'm sure for you guys it's not very cold, but for us that, everything's dead, everything's, miserable. People are not wanting to leave their houses. But again, North Alabama is a pretty humid, pretty summery place. Queen Bougie says, hello, King Andrew. I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you? King Carter says, I'm fine. Thank you. Queen Bougie says, excited to see the vegetation. Yes, absolutely. Again, we had these super tall tomato plants, which are still technically alive. They're there. I don't know how they're there, but they're there. But they have not produced fruit. We just have not had the ability to take care of them enough. They didn't get nearly enough sunlight, I think. And so, two things. One, Queen Bougie says, APM in Auburn, LOL, we will meet soon. Yes, please. Definitely, we need to. That's incredibly close to us, actually. So please reach out whenever you are available, and we will absolutely meet up. Fishland says, sure thing. Fishland says, that's our language. Yep, Queen Bougie, please reach out whenever you have time. It's good to see you. And good to see everybody else here. Thank you all for hanging out with us. I'm going to go one more time back to our arrow of progress just to remind everybody of what we're doing here and why we're doing it. Moving forward every day, trying to make progress and develop Vitae not only for ourselves, but as a home for our citizens, as a home for our empire, and as a checkpoint for anybody stopping through who hopes to make some improvement in their life. So thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you all later. Aeternia forever! Bye, guys.